Hi, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Sales B12, the one dose of sales you don't want to miss. I'm Caryn Kopp, Chief Door Opener. We get our clients in the door with their prospects for the first meeting, and I am here with Daly, globally known professional sales coach, training guru. Everything to do with sales is Daly, and we are here to talk about today which sales tasks sellers should not do. I was reading a HubSpot article recently, and they said about a third of a sales rep's day is spent on selling, which means 2/3 of it is not spent on selling. And the same study reported that one of the top 3 drivers for hitting new targets is improving rep productivity. So you talk about all the time, you talk about high payoff activities and how the focus should be there. And it's easier, I think, to identify what the high payoff activities are and harder to identify what tasks sellers should not do, which will help them to increase their productivity. So I'm just going to turn it over to you and let you just spew all the things that they shouldn't be doing. How much time do we have?
We're going to make this brief. Look, the very first thing that you really have to do to figure out the answer to this question, Caryn, is define what a salesperson's job is.
Mm-hmm.
You can't sort out what I should be doing and what I shouldn't be doing until you tell me, well, what are the expectations for me as a seller, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we might think that that's different depending upon the industry and so forth. And over a nice glass of wine, we could have a good conversation about that. But you're going to find me going back to something very simple. And that is, my definition of a seller's job is win new customers and grow the ones you have.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would tell you is that too many companies violate just that. I take on new coach clients, and I want to know historically what the overall revenues for the company were, overall sales, right? And when I go back 3 years, I don't hear very much gain from year to year. But then when I start to get data that's more granular, I'm finding that the sales force has grown in size. Some of the salespeople have hit new records. And I'm going, well, wait a second. How could the overall number not have grown? Well, they're losing customers at the same pace or worse than they're bringing them in. And, I've run 100 marathons, but I haven't ran many miles on a treadmill because the concept of running and going nowhere drives me nuts. And that's what that is we're paying salespeople, we're paying sellers to bring in this business, and the business is not growing, which means
Right.
that you haven't defined the role well enough. So I say you got to understand that sellers should be responsible for winning new customers. Now, if you want to set up in your company another role in the company for growing the ones you have, I'm going to call those 2 different sellers, and I'm
Right.
good with that. But
Right.
once you define what the role is, and I'm going to stay with win new customers, grow the ones you have, then here's the answer to the question. It's general, but it's the answer. Anything that doesn't contribute to one of those 2 things should not be on the seller's plate, right? So around the world, I'm known for different one-liners, and one of my favorites is, if you don't have an assistant, you are one. There are things that need to be done in sales, but not necessarily done by the salesperson, right? So I'm an old guy, and early in my life, I found myself in the CEO position in my early 30s of a national company, and I served in a leadership CEO position most of my business life. So I'm not very good with technology. So I know the value of updating a contact management system. I can teach how to do that really well, but if I'm really exceptional at opening up new accounts, if I'm really good at growing the business that we have, the hardest sale that you make in selling is the first one, because you had to get over the trust. So once
Right.
you've gotten trust, go wide and go deep, right? With the existing. And it's amazing how few people are really focusing on how can we grow the business that we currently have gotten the trust on.
Right.
But here's the deal. If I'm really good at those things, why would you put me in front of a computer where I'm one finger at best? And by the way, and hate every moment that I'm sitting in front of it. Like, it's
That's
shocking. I travel hundreds of thousands of air miles a year, and when I'm going through the TSA line, the guy just can't believe that I don't have a laptop or an iPad to take out of my backpack. He's like, "What do you mean you don't have one?" Like, well, I don't own one. Like, it's shocking. And then I get on the airplane, and all of my colleagues are sitting around me with their laptops up. And I don't, it would not be a good use of my, what I call 168 hours a week. So for me, that would be something I should not be working on. But if I found a person like my grandkids that grew up with computers, and if they were a seller, it might behoove them to be doing that activity, because it's going to help them grow the ones they have, right? Rather than offload it onto an assistant. So I'm the master at offloading, and my team of assistants they hear this all the time from me. I only do three things in the company: I speak, I travel to where I speak, and I have fun. And anything else, you guys do. So,
right.
so every once in a while, one of them sends me an email, and then I hit reply all to the assistants that I have, and I say, somehow this mistakenly came to me. I only do three things: speak, travel, fun. Figure it out, and I won't take it back. Right? I just won't take it back.
Right.
What I think what sellers have to figure out, and their leaders in
Right.
concert, right? It is this. What is the hourly rate that my seller is making? And if you're
Right.
100% commission only, you just take the dollars you made that month and divide it by the hours that you spent doing that business, and that's your hourly rate. Now, if your hourly rate is $100, anything that you could get somebody for less to do than $100, if I get somebody to do something and I pay them $25 an hour to do it, I'm a net 75 ahead if it enables me to go make more calls.
Right. Well, I find that the leaders will stand on ceremony and say the seller is the seller is the seller, and therefore they should do all things related to selling, and not look at it from the perspective that you just spoke about. And it's really a very myopic focus. And like one of the things, for example, that we do in our company is that the door openers, who are very senior level business developers, they represent our clients as if they were a member of the client's team, and they get the doors open, they land the meetings. These people are gifted at having conversations with executives that produce an outcome. Why would I have them look up an email address? That is a terrible use of their time. We have a research department, and the research department will put the prospect list together, make sure that every prospect on the list is a great prospect, verify that the decision maker, the human, is still in that role. I don't need the door opener finding that out. Let the researcher find that out. Verify the email address and the phone number and the cell phone number, so that when that's loaded into the CRM and the door opener is doing the outreach, I don't have to have them looking up an email address or hitting a phone number that's disconnected. That is a complete waste of time. So they are focused on that which only they can do, and leverage that their best talents are being used in the right way. That's how we do it internally. Let's split up those roles in selling.
I'm
What do
going to
you
take it. I'll take it to another level.
Okay.
So in the 90s, I had a company that was Inc. number 10 on the Inc. 500. Now
Awesome.
that's 10,100% growth. we had 120 salespeople in the company, but only about 12 of them actually could really sell. And this is a business that involved a lot of paperwork to get the deal to the end zone. And so I ended up taking the 12 that really could sell. And I said, the other 100 plus are going to screen calls. And as soon as you feel like you have someone that merits one of the 12, you're going to lateral them over to the 12. Then when those one of the 12 closes them, then there's this massive 30 days worth of paperwork and interaction with the customer. They're going to go back to the person who sent them the call and say, dog this paperwork down until the finish line. When we were 120 and they were all trying to do the same function, my great sellers were only closing about 12 to 15 deals a month. When I changed the structure, they were closing 60 to 70 deals a month and happier, right?
Yeah. Because 1 + 1 in that case equaled 4, as opposed to 1 + 1 = 2. And the same is true of the door opening. We've talked about that so many times. You pair a great door opener with a phenomenal closer, and then you watch the magic happen. And you don't, as a leader, stand on ceremony that it's always been done this way. So the sellers are responsible for getting the door open and responsible for closing the sale. What if you split those two roles and had a door opener and you have a closer from your company? 1 + 1 = 4.
Well,
You
look,
just watch.
you guys, a door opener, you do it better than any of us out here. But the reason that you do is because from what I gather is your door openers are doing what I defined, which is win new ones, grow the ones you have. In other words, they're narrowly focused on just that, right? And so at a door opener, give me another or several, if you want, examples of stuff that you keep away from them, but still needs to be done. What else do you have?
The door openers, well, definitely the research,
Yeah.
some of the creation of reports. I don't have the door openers training other door openers unless that is their role. So they're not split. They are maniacally focused for our clients on exactly the right prospects with verified information, as I talked about. And then they're doing the outreach and focusing on that to get maximum number of meetings. Our Salesforce iteration has been designed for door opening efficiency, fewer clicks with maximum return, on them being able to focus on the quality of the outreach so that the quantity makes sense too. It's not quantity over quality. You have to have both. But if you have so many clicks before you can get to anything, then what's the point? Our metrics are set up so that diagnosis is easy. What's the problem? Is it the target? Is it the messaging? So we don't have to do a lot of hand diagnosis to figure out what the problem is, and then we can fix it quickly. But we have strategists who are doing that part of it. We have analysts who are looking at the data and serving it up saying, I think we have a problem here or here. So our door openers are maniacally focused on only that which they can do, which is the communication with the prospects.
Yeah, look, I have several clients that we just measure the time that our sellers are on the phone.
Oh, right.
And this is, I find this to be illuminating because an awful lot of sellers that have, they're not measuring their time on the phone, they're trying to make the calls shorter. Are they spending too long on the call? And my mental state is just the opposite.
Right.
I mean, the longer the time on the call, the deeper we're getting into the deal.
That's right.
If you want to measure me on how short my calls are, I'll do this. Hi, bye, hi, bye, hi, bye, right? And so we've tracked and seen where spending that quality time on the phone. So when I think about the door openers, you guys, they must spend the mass majority of their time on that phone, digging deep with with the prospect. Now,
Right.
I can tell you, you started this whole section off by saying there were studies done, and 30% of the time is spent selling and 70% is not. And by the way, the majority of the things that are not were not the seller's idea, it was the company's idea for them to do
Yeah.
these activities, right?
Yes, a lot of it is being requested by the leaders, for sure.
We go in and try to figure that out with our clients, and our stat is more than 50% of the time is stuff that they don't want to do, that they're told to do, and it's not adding value to winning new customers, growing the ones you have.
Exactly.
So the leaders
Maniacally focused
figure
on
that
that.
out, and the leaders are not figuring it out. So I fight for the sellers more often than I fight for management, uh, because the managers are getting in the way of us being good sellers. And now I'm speaking from many years ago when I was a salesperson, and
Yeah.
what I discovered was that I just would refuse to do certain things, and and go to manager jail. But it was interesting because I would piss off HR and I'd piss off the accountant and I'd tick this guy off and tick that guy off. But when they had the awards banquet every year, and I was honored as a high achiever and got up on
Right.
stage for my trophy or whatever I'm getting, that HR person and the controller and everybody, they were all standing and clapping. Uh,
Yeah.
so as long as you produce the numbers, just tell them to go away. I'm not going to do this stuff. To get
Well,
somebody else.
leaders, I think the leaders who are listening, I think what Jack is trying to say is that if you want more revenue, don't stand in the way of your sellers doing more revenue generating activities. I think that's what we're trying to say, and have them stop doing anything that could be done by someone else that doesn't directly affect them being able to gain new customers or grow the ones they have. So this has been a great Sales B12, Jack, and I really appreciate all your thoughts on this. Everybody, if you like what you're hearing, share it with people who you love that really need to have this information. And don't forget to watch some of the other Sales B12 episodes that we've done in the past, the one dose of sales you don't want to miss. And we look forward to seeing you again on our next episode. Bye, everybody.
Yeah.